still dripping out the city. Oh my God, boy, he got it got. Oh my God, boy, that boy on top. Sipping walk, make my heart stop. All these hoes, yeah, my love, my thigh. Yo, oh, let it go. Put her on roll, put that on payroll, put that on go. Yeah, she like to go, yeah, she love to blow. Get that dick slow, like a snow cone. Yo, get that bag, show 'em how to ball. I'm in the mall, you know what I'm saying? Give me a minute, yeah, I need a minute. I'm in a minute, I'm need a minute. I'm gonna tell you, hey, Cardi being pippin', Cardi being kick the shit in. Yeah, give me a minute.
I can't believe it, bro. I can't believe it. Why? Why Waddle? First Tyreek, now Waddle? We couldn't keep one person? One? Bro, how much more we have to go through? How much? I'm tired, man. I'm tired. I am tired. You might as well trade A-Chain now too. No point of keeping him. Trade A-Chain. Who is Malik Willis gonna throw to? All we had to do now was fix the O-line and get a very good cornerback, and we'll be back in it in the division with the Patriots, the Bills, you name it. We'll be okay, but we could have at least got a receiver back from the Broncos, but we only got a fourth round. We got a first round, third round, and a fourth round pick back for Waddle, but we gave up a fourth. Like, you're going to have to tell me how you plan on replacing Waddle. How you going to do it? How you going to do it? What did Waddle do so wrong? What did he do to you guys? What did he do? We just got a so-called franchise quarterback. So you think Malik Willis is that good enough to be able to lead us to wins without Waddle being on the team? You think he that good? You think he's that good? Okay, we're going to see this year. We're going to see. Shout out to EM. Sully did say anyone could be had for the right price. Oh, man, damn, we're cooked. These moves feel like Josh McDaniels blowing up the Raiders. I'm not upset about cutting Gill, but hurts to trade Waddle. Oh, hell. A-Chain next. 2-2, wide receiver 1. You know, I'm thinking that we got Tutu to replace Tyreek Hill, but we got Tutu to replace Jalen Waddle. That's what... Man, bro. So it seemed like we're probably going to go receiver in the first round. We're probably going to go receiver in the first round. Receiver and probably O-lineman. Maybe. Or is it going to be receiver and cornerback? Who knows? But it seemed like A-Chain could be had for 2 first-round picks. If you offer 2 first-round picks A-Chain, he available. But I doubt any team's gonna offer that for A-Chain. A-Chain is too valuable at this point for us to trade him, but seeing Waddle go makes you think like, man, A-Chain, you're not safe. You're not safe. You are not safe. Maybe we're trying to get Max Crosby. Jalen Waddle said he would beat up certain. It's funny how Jalen Waddle said that he will beat up Surtain. Now he's on the same team as Surtain. Let's see what's going to happen. Are they going to fight on the Broncos? Is that one going to happen? Come to us. I don't know who this is. Dolphins are retarded, but it looks like Dolphins went full retard mode. No, they went full rebuild. It could have been like a retool rebuild, but now it's a full rebuild. That's what I think. We got 2 firsts now, so that's a plus. Hey, I think we got the 11th and the 30th, or the 14th and the 30th picks. But man, I couldn't believe this. I just couldn't believe this, man. I thought it was gonna be a beautiful Tuesday, and now Waddle gone. It seems real. And like I said, a 4th round pick. Miami Dolphins will get a 1st round pick, 3rd, and a 4th round pick. I think we got 4 3rd round picks, if I'm not mistaken. Like, is Waddle going? Is he gonna even like it over there in Colorado? Did y'all talk to Waddle before y'all make this happen? Did y'all talk to Waddle? Because Waddle, he a Texas boy, so I don't know how he gonna feel about going to the Broncos. I do not know. Man. I feel like they're gonna underuse him over there with the Broncos. They're gonna underuse him. He's not gonna get as much targets as he would like. If he get into it with Sean Payton, Sean Payton, he's an old school head coach. So, quickly like that, he'll get you a game with no targets. They're not gonna focus on him being the primary receiver. I mean, they made this trade, so they might be more entitled to giving Waddle more targets than Cortland Sutton, but at the same time, you would have been a main focus here in Miami in regards to receivers. We signed Jalen Tolbert, but we knew Waddle would have got most of the targets. A-Chain, he's definitely up there in regards to being a receiver as well. Tutu, even though he has the speed of Jalen Waddle, he's not as good of a player as Jalen Waddle to replace him. Same thing for our Tyreek. He's not as good as Tyreek or Jalen Waddle. He just has that speed, to replace Tyreek and Waddle. So it seems like we signed Tutu just so we don't get rid of too much of the speed that we have on the team. But at the same time, we were probably ready to let go of Waddle for the right price. A 1st, a 3rd, and a 4th. I mean, I can't complain, but at the same time, I needed an insurance plan for Waddle for me to be comfortable with a move like this. The insurance plan could be a receiver in the draft that they really like, but we don't know that right now. Or if we were to get a 1st and 2nd, I'll be like, okay, now we're working. Like, that's a pretty good deal. A 1st and a 2nd plus more, but we got a 1st, a 3rd, and a 4th. Imagine 2 firsts for Waddle. That would have been crazy. But I doubt that would have happened. I doubt it. 11th and the 30th. I'm going to be sick when they trade A-Chain too, but them picks going to be nice. Yeah, I'm saying A-Chain, he could go for the same price. A 1st, a 3rd, and a 4th. He could go for the same price, or maybe even a 1st. I don't think a 1st and a 2nd, but if we get A-Chain, we know we're getting a 1st round pick. No way we're not getting a 1st round pick for A-Chain. But I don't know how this coaching staff feel about trading A-Chain. There are some guys that I like in the draft that are very similar to A-Chain. Like you won't miss a step if you get these guys and you get rid of A Chain. You know, I might show you somebody after we go over this Waddle news in regards to somebody who could replace A Chain if we do actually decide to let him go. For sure. Shout out to Ralph. Man, Waddle. If YouTube ain't copyright, I would have played that Wiz Khalifa song. It's been a long day without you, my friend. But I tell you all about it when I see you again. You know, Waddle, he was a good receiver for us. We can't even lie. He wasn't that like official number one receiver, but he was a very good receiver. You know, that year that we did not have Tyreek Hill, he definitely did his thing with the team. I think he went over 1,000 yards his first year, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he did. Let's go over his stats real quick. Yeah, 2021, he had 1,015 yards. That second year, 1,356 yards. Third year, 1,014 yards. So he could have kept this streak going, but you know, Tua kind of messed things up. You know, 744, 910. You know, he found the end zone a lot in that second year. I think this was the first year that Tyreek Hill came to the team. You know, hopefully Waddle learned a lot from Tyreek Hill so he could become that type of receiver for the Broncos. Because I was hoping Jalen Waddle would turn into that Tyreek Hill type of receiver for us this year based off of him being with Tyreek Hill these past few years. So it's possible it's there. You know, you see the 1,356 yard season, and it kind of shows you like Waddle has potential of being a number one receiver, not just a speed receiver. That's what I see with Waddle for sure. We drafted Waddle in the first round. Was it 2021? If I'm not mistaken. It's not showing me anything. Last year, saying he had 99 targets. Let's see the Broncos roster to see how he's a good fit. Broncos depth chart player profiler. All right. You know, they got Bo Nix. Could I trust Bo Nix to get Jalen Waddle the ball enough? I shouldn't even care because, you know, Jalen Waddle, he's off the team now. I shouldn't even care, but I don't really trust Bo Nix to make Jalen Waddle an all-pro receiver. You know, if you gave Jalen Waddle to Josh Allen, then you talking something. Like if you gave Jalen Waddle Joe Burrow, you know, then I would be like, okay, Waddle might get close to that 2,000. But with Bo Nix, I think he won't surpass 1,200. You know, 1,100 in that range. You know, probably like 6 touchdowns, 7. You know, receivers. You know, they already added Jalen Waddle. This just happened. They already added him. That's crazy. That's crazy. But you know, Courtland Sutton, a bigger receiver. You know, you got Marvin Mims. He's kind of in that same threshold with Jalen Waddle in regards to the type of receivers they are. You know, but you know Jalen Waddle, he's more talented than Marvin Mims. Even though Marvin Mims, he's good. Like, let's say we went through this trade and we got Marvin Mims back for Jalen Waddle. I'll be a little bit less upset, but we just got a first, a third, and a fourth. And, you know, maybe you could have coughed up that fourth and just give us Marvin Mims, and we'll be okay with the first and the third Marvin Mims for Jalen Waddle and a fourth. I would have been okay with that. You know, Trent Sherfield, you know, former Dolphin receiver that we used to have. Pat Bryant. I wouldn't mind getting this guy from the Broncos. Definitely wouldn't mind it. But They just drafted him, so there's no way that we could have got Pat Bryant from the Broncos. Elijah Moore, that's another guy, South Florida kid. A.T. Perry as well. He's another South Florida guy that we could have picked up, a longer receiver, taller receiver. I'm not too sure if he's currently on the team, but this would have been a good pickup too if you're trying to get bigger receivers that could also help out in the running game. So there's a lot of speed in this receiving room other than Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, he's pretty fast, Troy Franklin, pretty fast, Jalen Waddle, pretty fast, Elijah Moore, pretty fast, and you got Evan Ingram, one of the fastest tight ends in the whole league. He could definitely help in regards to making this team a faster team. Now you add Waddle too, that's going to stress the defenses in regards to playing back, just so the running game could work better for R.J. Harvey, Jaleel McLaughlin, J.K. Dobbins. They just re-signed him. They might draft somebody else. So getting Jalen Waddle is not just you getting a receiver. You're going to help the whole offense in regards to having a threat out there that could threaten any defense you play. Any defense, going to Denver, that's a whole different type of vibe right there to put your receiver through. It is, how is Waddle going to perform in that type of climate that Denver has? Not everybody can last in that Denver climate. Waddle's so used to playing in Texas. He got drafted to the Miami Dolphins, played at Alabama, not that bad of climates, but you going to a place where it's higher in regards to the sea level, it's going to be hard to breathe out there. Is Waddle going to be able to sustain his play in Denver? That's another question you got to ask. Another question, but we're going to see what happens this year with Waddle being a part of the Denver Broncos. They got a pretty good O-line. Garrett Bowles been a good player. Quinn Miners, one of the best guards in the NFL. A lot of good backup pieces. Mike McGlinchey, a fringe starter pretty much. He's good enough to be good enough. Ben Powers, another good guard to have in the room. You can't complain with the O-line, top 5 in the league for sure. Top 5. So this offense should be explosive. It seems like Denver is gonna be either first or second. I feel like, I don't know, man. Do we trust the Chiefs to be back to where they used to be? Or do you trust the fact that the Broncos just made this big move, adding Jalen Waddle? And, Chiefs, they added Kenneth Walker. We're going to see who could last the longest in regards to injuries, who can stay the healthiest. And I feel like that's who's going to win the whole division in regards to the AFC West. You got the Raiders too. They're about to get Mendoza. Chargers, you see what they're doing out there with Mike McDaniel, their new OC. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man, about this trade. I'm pretty sure the Broncos like this. This might put them over the top. You could have gave us Nick Bonito. You could have gave us him. Nick Bonito, a third or something, and then we'll give you Waddle. Bonito, he went to St. Thomas Aquinas, I believe, and he was a highly touted recruit, or Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma? Yeah, I think he went to Oklahoma. Came from St. Thomas Aquinas, so he's from the crib. He would have been a perfect fit for the Dolphins, and we need an edge guy. And we need an edge. A linebacker, they don't have Dre Greenlaw no more. He went back to the 49ers. Drew Sanders, a pretty good linebacker, but we don't really need a linebacker. We could have gave y'all Waddle for Patrick Surtain straight up. Straight up. No complaints. That would definitely work. Definitely. But you can't get rid of a guy like this good. He's definitely important to the team. Riley Moss, he's not that bad as well. Not that bad. We all know that we need cornerback help. Chris Abrams drained, a project we could have worked with. Most definitely Brandon Jones. You could have gave us Brandon Jones back. We need safety help. Hufunga, you could have got him. Guys that could come onto the Dolphins and help us out immediately so that Waddle trade doesn't hurt as bad as, just us getting picks back, if you get what I'm trying to say. RP Vincent Jackson, a legend, Buccaneers legend. RP to him. That just happened. That just happened. Let's see what people are saying about this Waddle trade. Sean Payton not playing.
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle, I have a quick question for you.
Talk to me.
Later in your career or now, would you ever see yourself getting inside the ring in Branders?
Who am I fighting? Like you gotta give me like who I'm fighting.
Anybody.
Pat Surtain. I beat the fuck out of him.
Oh shit, Pat Surtain.
Beat the dog shit out of him.
Oh my god. All right.
There's a lot more people.
It's a lot more people?
But that's just how in my mind. I beat the dog.
This probably what made them want to trade Waddle after this video right here. After this video, they're probably like, you know what? It wouldn't be that bad for us to get rid of him. It seems like he's a hothead anyway. You saying that you will fight your old teammate? That's not going to sit well with certain people. Even though I know Jalen Waddle's playing around, you just can't be saying that. Hey, I'm about to beat my homeboy ass. That's going to speak on your character. Like, damn, you do that to your homeboy? You would do that?
Fuck shit out,
Holy
bro.
Shit.
Yeah.
Also, are you excited for the fight tonight?
Yeah.
Who do you think's gonna win the Blueface Chibu fight?
It's like Lent versus Power. I seen Blueface. He got in there with Keyshawn not too long ago, so I'm gonna go Blueface.
You go Blueface? All right. And also, if you could have any two NFL players fight right now, other than yourself,
Okay.
and you want to see that match from any time, who would you pick?
I pick any two. I'm gonna pick Myles Garrett versus Max Crosby. Heavyweight. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good fight right there. Max Crosby, Myles Garrett. Oh man, that would be a good one. Max Crosby, he looked like he got hands. Myles Garrett, sometimes you don't think he got hands, but at the same time, he's just like a powerful human being. So that would be a good fight. A very good fight. Now I really want to see this fight. People will pay money to see this fight, but I doubt the NFL will let this happen. I doubt it. This is what Aqib Talib said just a few days ago in regards to the Broncos acquiring an explosive offensive weapon for the team.
The young man, Davis Webb Carter plays, and we will have an offensive new explosion player on offense. Just know that, Skip. Just remember, I told you that. All right,
Okay.
Skip? It will be a new.
Are you saying you have
explosion player on offense.
inside information?
I'm just telling you, Skip.
Okay,
Just,
all right.
when it break, just say, oh yeah, Lee said that.
Okay.
So I do my thing. I know people.
So Howie's already got a handshake deal with the Broncos to send AJ to
Nah, I
Denver.
ain't say all that. That's
Yeah.
you.
Oh!
We will have one though. We're gonna let the young man.
I low-key think AJ Brown would have been better with the Broncos rather than Jalen Waddle. I personally think so. I think they're both good situations, but I think AJ Brown would have been a better fit with the Broncos. Way better fit. Who knows? Maybe AJ Brown comes to the Dolphins now. Who knows? Who knows? So Sean Payton heard Jalen Waddle said that he would beat the out of Pat Surtain. That's what made him go and make that trade. That's crazy. That is crazy. Wait, hold on. Let me see if there's like playable clips of Waddle. You know, expect to see stuff like this with Jalen Waddle when he goes to the Broncos. You know, use that speed to your advantage. You know, just get the ball in his hands, and he can make a lot of stuff happen with that speed, that agility, you know, catching. If you get Waddle pissed off, he catching everything. He seemed like one of those type of players. You know, he proved it his first year with us that he's not just a speed receiver. You know, he seemed like that with Alabama because of all the other receivers they had in the room, like Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, you know, Jerry Jeudy. You know, all those guys overshadowed him to make it seem like he's not a true number one receiver. You know, I think he's a true number one receiver with the right quarterback. For sure. I don't know if Bo Nix is that quarterback to show that he's a true number one, but you know, I don't think he's number two. You know, I think the worst he could be now is a 1B, a receiver 1B, not a 2. But he could reach that plateau of being elite wide receiver 1 with the right team. Hopefully, Sean Payton could tap into that potential with Jalen Waddle. You know, even though he's with the Broncos, you know, I want to see the best for Jalen Waddle. I do want to see the best for Jalen Waddle, not the worst.
Frustrated?
No, I'm not frustrated. Well, what I will tell you is this. Other teams clearly value the wide receiver position more than the Cleveland Browns.
Why do I feel like we've been saying this for a long time?
Maybe Andrew Berry has some ideas, maybe some things that he's gonna go for. I actually think they have some competent wide receivers, but you have your fingers crossed for the Browns wide receivers.
Frustrated?
No, I'm.
If you really thought that we was going to trade Jalen Waddle to the Cleveland Browns, nah, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let that happen. You know, y'all remember the last time when we traded away a receiver to the Browns, what happened to their careers? You know, Jarvis Landry. So we're not going to do that to our boy Waddle. You know, we sent him to a right place for him. You know, a pretty good fit, not the best fit, I think, but a pretty good fit. You know, I hate the fact that they're in the AFC. So now if we're in the playoffs, you're going to have to see Waddle and he's going to take off on you if you're the Miami Dolphins. You know, but at the same time, you better make sure Malik Willis is well equipped with a very good team, a very good roster. You see Waddle and Pat Surtain already on the phone. Already on the phone. That is crazy. That is crazy. 38 years old. RIP to Vincent Jackson, man. 38. This was yesterday, I think. Trade must have been finalized by then because they good friends. Hey, Pastor Tane, he's sumoing. He's sumoing. After if somebody told me that they gonna beat my ass and I'm still cool with them, nah. We got fleece from Jalen Waddle deal. I don't think we got fleece. Waddle was higher pick than pick 30. Yeah, he was, but you gotta remember we got the third and the fourth to make up for that pick being later on in the first round. So you gotta remember that. What's good, Cap? What is good, Cap? You know, I'm pretty sure other people are alive right now, but I just wanted to hop on, talk about this, hop off. I'll be back on more often now. You know, I've been blessed with the opportunity to not have to work no more. You know, I do still work, but you know, I don't have to work a 9 to 5. I could just, you know, hop on at any time if I'm home. So I'll be on more often. You know, I'll be back with the rankings, my scouting rankings in regards to players that I think the Dolphins should target. But now that we traded Jalen Waddle, now I might have to look more deeper into this receiving draft class, because they're saying that we hosted Makai Lemon for a top 30 visit with the Dolphins. So, you know, there might be some interest. If he's there at 30, who knows? We might go get Makai Lemon now. We might go get him. Our first pick probably going to be an O-lineman or a quarterback, and our second pick probably will be a receiver. Probably will be a receiver. You know, the Broncos just got their Tyreek Hill.
Breaking news, NFL.
Jalen Waddle to the Broncos.
For a first, a third, and a fourth?
Yep, Waddle and
I
a
guess
fourth.
a fourth swap?
Yeah, fourth swap.
Wow.
So the Broncos pushing all in.
So the Dolphins are obviously setting up for a tankathon.
Yep.
Well, so Bo Nix gets a huge target.
Yep, who can stretch the field and plays with more consistency.
I can't believe they gave up a first and a third for Jalen Waddle.
I kind of agree with you, but that's why
That's
the
a
Eagles.
lot,
but
right?
that right there is why the Eagles have not yet traded A.J. Brown.
Man.
If Waddle's worth that, why should they give him away for less when he's a better player?
I would have given up Garrett Wilson for a first and a third. The Denver Broncos got better, but at what cost, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know, look, what were they picking, 30th, 29th, whatever it was? So it's a low first-round draft pick, but good for Jalen Waddle. Goes to a playoff team. Breaking news.
Like you could pull off a move like this if you trust your scouting department and your whole regime to draft the right players. If you trust them to do that with the draft picks that they currently do have, you know, you're not going to get the first. So you're going to have to make up for it with your other picks that you have in that draft. And looking at the Broncos roster is not that bad to the point where not having a first round pick is going to hurt them. You know, so they're more willing to give it away to get a top tier player like Jalen Waddle, in my opinion.
For me, I give the Dolphins, I give the Broncos an A. I love it. I understand you gave up 3 picks, right? A first, a third, and a fourth. But the first is a 30th. And it seems like they were in the market for trying to go get a potential wide receiver in the first round. And seeing how it could be a run on wide receivers, you don't know exactly which receiver could have been there at the 30th pick. And then you got to also ask yourself this question. If we drafted a wide receiver at 30th, would they be who Jalen Waddle currently is right now? Probably not. And I understand Jalen Waddle just got a nice contract extension, over a year ago. But the market for the wide receiver position for him, and that's a great deal for the Denver Broncos. And then instantly he's a playmaker. So I love that for the Denver Broncos because to your point.
Hey, don't be shocked. I feel like there are some receivers that could come in and instantly put up the same numbers that Jalen Waddle put up for the Miami Dolphins. I'm not going to say they're going to have a as good or better impact that Jalen Waddle had on the team, but I do think the stats Waddle put up is not impossible from a rookie wide receiver coming out of this draft class. Trust me.
They're all in, and your quarterback is still in the midst of a rookie deal, year 3. This is where this is the time you make these calculated steps. So it's an A for me. And for the Miami Dolphins, I mean, you got an extra first rounder, you got a third and a fourth. I like the move for them. It's a B plus for me because they're just looking towards the future and getting the resources. And the reason why I say it's a B plus because time will tell exactly how they manifest these picks, right? They have the picks, but in terms of who they draft with these picks, I got to wait and see. But just having the draft capital is one thing. Remember what I said, you got to hit on the draft capital. So if they keep this 30th pick in this upcoming NFL draft and they go get a potential building block for the future, now I can probably improve my grade. But right now, I got to wait and see exactly how this new regime there in Miami attack this draft with the capital they currently just received with this Jalen Waddle trade to Denver.
Hey, Sullivan, don't mess this up. Do not mess this up, Sullivan. Do not mess this up. Y'all boys better draft like the Rams draft. You know, they say F them picks, but they still make up for it by getting top tier players without that first round pick. You know, not without. We're going to have 2 first round picks, but don't mess up the 2 first round picks. We've seen Chris Greer mess that up before. We had 3 first round picks. He messed up on all 3. You know, Tua, he's gone. Noah, he's gone. Austin Jackson, the only one left, but he's hanging on by a thread right now. So please do not mess up these 2 first round picks you have this year because that could set us back even more if you pick the wrong players. That could set us back even more. Right now, we're going to look at the free agent receivers that are available. See if there's anybody we can sign, or we might have to wait until the NFL draft to get that receiver to replace Waddle because, you know, I like Tutu from the crib, but is he really going to replace Waddle? I mean, Tyreek Hill, he's still available. He's still available. We don't know if he's going to go back to his regular self. You know, it seems like any other team could get Tyreek Hill at a discounted price if they really wanted to. But, you know, I know the Dolphins not going to get Tyreek Hill again. Well, Stephon Diggs, you know, a little bit of a cancer in the locker room, so I wouldn't want that on my team. Deebo Samuel, you know, does he have the chance to be better than Waddle? I don't see it at this current moment. He's 30.2 years old. Curtis Samuel, I do not see it. Marquise Brown, possibly, you know, a fast guy, you know, from South Florida. You know, if you're going to get Tutu, you might as well get Marquise Brown, and, you know, you got that South Florida receiving core going on right now, other than Tolbert from the Cowboys. Jawan Jennings, you know, kind of familiar with the system. We might bring him in now that we traded Waddle. So Marquise Brown, Jawan Jennings sound like some good names. They sound like some good names. DeAndre Hopkins, and maybe, you know, I always thought that DeAndre Hopkins would look good in a Miami Dolphin uniform. I always thought that. No names that kind of stick out. I think Jahan Dotson signed with the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken. Signed with the Falcons. But yeah, there's nobody else I could really see replacing Waddle other than the people I just named. You know, but all I'm saying is just have a backup plan if you're gonna trade Waddle. Have a backup plan because it don't seem like there's like an obvious one, you know. I'm gonna just repeat it again. You know, Marquise Brown, I'll be cool with that. Jawan Jennings, DeAndre Hopkins. Those are like the main 3 I would be okay with. The main 3. You guys let me know in the comments how you feel about the receivers that are available. NFL draft wide receivers. So now we're going to have to look at the receivers available in this NFL draft in regards to who could replace Waddle. We're gonna look at these guys. All right, position, wide receiver. Okay, so based off this coaching staff, I don't think they're gonna focus on getting a guy exactly like Waddle. They're probably gonna focus on a guy who could be that X wide receiver. That guy who could beat one-on-one every time. That's what they're gonna focus on. They got Carnell Tate. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be gone after that 30th pick. Mekhi Lemon, we just hosted him for a top 30 visit. So if he's there with the 30th pick that we have now, we'll possibly get him. Jordan Tyson, I'm scared of the injuries, so I don't know, but he's a very good separator for a guy with his size. Very good separator. Doesn't necessarily have the speed. Neither one of these three guys, the top three guys, have that speed, but they make up for it in different departments. So, if any of these three guys fall to the 30th pick, it might be a good chance to pick one of these receivers up. But with our earlier pick, the 11th pick, I don't think that we should invest in receiver, even though we lost Waddle. I don't think so. Casey Concepcion, pretty good player. Pretty good player to replace Waddle with. I'm not even gonna lie, based off the gameplay, but I don't think I would invest a first round pick in him. Probably a second if he falls there. Omar Cooper, another good guy. Probably a second I would invest. Chris Brazel. If you really want a big receiving group, get Chris. He runs a blazing fast 40 as well to go along with his 6'5", 6'6" frame. So he would be a good fit to add on to the team, but still add that size that he has and that speed that Waddle might have as well. I'm pretty sure Waddle's faster than him, but he's not that slow either. He could probably keep up with Waddle, but not as fast as him. Zakaria Branch. This guy, if you really want to replace Tyreek Hill and get somebody similar, Zakaria Branch is that receiver that you must get. He doesn't look the size based off the numbers may entail. He put up very good numbers, a good 40, good bench, just a good athlete overall. And if you mold him to become that Tyreek Hill type of player, I feel like he could excel in that role. He could definitely excel in that role. So Zachariah Branch from Georgia, be on the lookout for him. Malachi Fields, that big receiver from Notre Dame, could be a big guy that could come in and fill in for that role that Darren Waller played for us last year. But Malachi Fields is strictly a receiver. He may get moved to tight end if he gains a little bit more weight. But I doubt that. Him, second, third round pick. Skylar Bell, I do like this guy. I think he could be a potential wide receiver too. But I don't know if he's going to be able to. I don't know if he's going to be able to overshadow Jalen Tolbert on the other side. Is he going to step up and be that receiver number one? I really want to see that type of potential. With Chris Bell, I see that potential. With Ted Hurst, I see that potential. I like him based off what I'm seeing. Jacoby Lane, a big body threat. But I don't know about that separation. If he's going to be able to separate on a higher level, on the next level, that's the only thing I'm worried about. Jeremy Bernard, they're comparing him to Deebo Samuel. He's getting comparisons to that guy right there. There's a lot of good options at receiver, but can any of these guys step up and be a receiver number one? That's something that we got to be sure about before we draft anybody. This is the fastest receiver from the NFL draft last year. Brennan Thompson. He could be a guy that the Dolphins target, but I know he's not going to be as good as Waddle. I know it. Reggie Virgil, I liked his gameplay. A guy to look out for. There's a lot. I think this was the fastest group of NFL draft eligible players ever recorded based off the 40 that everybody ran and what was the average. This was the fastest group. So you'll be able to find fast players, but are you going to be able to find those really good football players? Having speed is one thing, but being a football player is a whole nother thing. That's what we're really looking for in regards to a Dolphin wide receiver. Somebody that could do everything. Somebody that has the speed, somebody who has the size, somebody who has the route running ability, somebody who has the separation capability as well. Somebody who has everything in the books, not just one specific thing. Not just one specific thing. That's going to be the perfect fit in our receiving core, a receiver of that magnitude. The perfect fit. Let's see what else. This who the Broncos getting, huh? This who the Broncos getting? Somebody who played receiver with the number 55. That's who they getting. I feel like with this trade, it automatically locks in the Broncos as a playoff contender for sure. Not a Super Bowl contender, but a playoff contender. That's how I view them now with this move. That's how I view them. Here's Waddle high school highlights. Yeah, Waddle was an animal at Texas. I think this is Episcopal. But like I told y'all, Waddle a Texas guy, so how is he gonna like Colorado? And then he spent most of his career in Miami. Ooh. You see, like Waddle is special, man. Waddle is special. I didn't want to let this go, but there's nothing I can do now. I'm not the GM of the Miami Dolphins, but plus adding Waddle might make Marvin Mims that much better of a player. It might. It might. Can't play that. This is how I'm feeling now. Everybody gone. Brian Flores, Tua, Waddle, Tyreek. Only person left is Jalen Waddle and Austin Jackson. Not Jalen Waddle, Devon A-Chain and Austin Jackson. Only guys left.
What do you make of this Jalen Waddle trade to the Broncos?
Miami right now, they are reassessing, readjusting. So when you can get rid of him and get what they got, you make that damn move. We just watched the Wiz get picks. So why not? You got a first, you say a first, a fourth, and a fifth?
A first, a third, and a fourth. But they're also sending their fourth, so a first and a third.
I take it.
A.J. Brown has to command more than that, right? The other thing to consider.
But see, A.J. Brown, older. A.J. Brown also, you can see the situation, then how desperate are some teams? Some like Denver may be more desperate than the next team. And Miami was willing. You know what I mean? A.J. Brown may come in a situation where it's not like that. And then the Eagles may want to let him go, which takes down his value.
A.J. Brown turns 29 this summer. How old is Waddle?
Like 26, right? 25, 26?
Seems younger, yeah. A.J. Brown maybe brings a level of baggage, might be too strong of a
Waddle
word.
is 27.
27.
Waddle turns 28 in November.
But
Maybe Thanksgiving
the
Day.
thing of it with AJ is he can play, but there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. And the trade market is not necessarily just because who you are, it's everything that surrounds you.
That's true. They probably seen the value of having Waddle there with everything that they got going on with the Broncos. This was from last year. The last 2 years production. But yeah, this sucks.
Let's go back to the Broncos trade. They don't need another guy like Cortland Sutton, because I actually, watching all the Bronco games, I don't think Nix and Sutton have gelled to the point that people thought that they would gel, because Nix is a point guard and Sutton is an outside the numbers wide receiver. And so their games are not totally suited for one another. They get a Waddle. I think Waddle is much more suited to a Bo Nix and, frankly, a Sean type of offense. And this is going to help them be better and help Sutton be better, because now he's not going to have to be the focal point of the passing game, and Nix will be able to be a point guard, which I think he is better at. We saw this with Sam Darnold and JSN. We've seen it with several others. Let's go back to the Broncos trade. They don't need another guy like Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, I heard him. Pretty good reasoning. You know, it makes sense. You know, a point guard, you really want that guy who could just get the ball and go for that amount of yards. But with Cortland Sutton, you're not really getting that with him. You're not. Cortland Sutton, you're just getting a big body receiver where you could throw it up. But even that's not 100% guaranteed with Cortland Sutton. Even though he has the size and the speed, you know, these cornerbacks could compete with Cortland Sutton. He hasn't separated himself as a clear-cut number one receiver. You know, based off the stats, you could pretty much say that he led the Broncos in receiving, I think. But we know he's not A.J. Brown. We know he's not Jamar Chase. We know he's not Justin Jefferson. You know, maybe having Waddle on the other side of Cortland Sutton will help him get more opportunities one-on-one. You know, as to Waddle, he could clear out anything underneath because of the threat of him being so fast. You know, so like I said, Waddle will help out the whole offense with the speed that he has. He will. You know, I don't know how you're going to like Colorado, Jalen Waddle. I do not know. But it is what it is. You know, I'm going to miss Jalen Waddle, man. You know, perfect name. You know, not the tallest of receivers, but, you know, I just liked his gameplay and what he came with in regards to him being a player. You know, at first I thought he was just a speed guy, but he ended up being more than that in my eyes. In some people's eyes, he's just a speed guy. But in my eyes, you know, he's a speed guy that showed potential of being a number one guy. But he just hasn't established himself yet as being that official number one guy because of how his career has gone. So maybe him going to this new team could create a different route of him actually becoming a receiver number one. You know. Man, my dog Waddle, man, they took him. They took him. Let me show you guys this. So if since we're seeing Waddle get traded to the Broncos, there's a chance that A-Chain might get traded. But I feel like there is a replacement for A-Chain if that does ever happen in the draft. Very good replacement. I know this guy from Miami. You know, he committed to Pittsburgh. He's been a very good player for Pittsburgh these past few years. Around the same size as not Jalen Waddle, but Devon A-Chain too. And you can tell by the film, like they're very similar players. We could watch this real quick. You know, good ball catcher out the backfield. You know, they line him up in the slot. Good route runner. Able to get open, dynamic. Almost a touchdown. Good vision. I don't know what his 40 is, but I just like this guy's potential. Even as a smaller running back, you know, I don't feel like he's going to be as good as Devon A-Chain because Devon A-Chain is definitely faster than him. But he could be right there under Devon A-Chain in regards to smaller backs who have a high ceiling in regards to being able to run in the NFL. You know, you can use him in many different ways. Many different ways. You know, he could run routes in the middle, run routes on the outside. He could take it to the house. Oh, he's trucking people too. He has that heart. You know, Devon A-Chain definitely plays a little smarter than him. You know, Devon A-Chain, the way he plays, he avoids contact. It's like he runs smartly. But with this guy, you know, he got that South Florida in him. So if he got to lower his shoulder 1 or 2 times, he'll do it. He'll do it. You can't tell me he don't look just like Devon A-Chain. He's not the track guy that Devon A-Chain is, but he'll do. He'll do. He has a little brother coming into Pittsburgh as well. A highly recruited running back. I think he came from Northwestern, from down south. You see, you're not scared to lower the shoulder. You're not scared. Look what he did at number 3, down here, number 3. Bah! You know, just limit that. Limit that because we don't want you to get hurt. We do not want that right there.
And at number 5, one of my favorite backs in the entire country. I think he's highly underrated. That's Desmond Reed. Now, this young man has got a great story. He started his career at Western Carolina, transferred to Pitt. He went with his offensive coordinator, Cade Bell, who was with him at WCU in 22 and 23. And I think a lot of people wondered, when Desmond Reed transferred up to the highest level of the sport, would he be big enough? He's 5'8", 175 pounds. Would he be big enough to weather the storm that you got to deal with when you are playing against Power 5 competition on a week in, week out basis? Well, not only was he incredible, but he beat you in so many different ways. This guy ran for nearly 1,000 yards. He also caught 52 passes for 579 yards.
Bro, that's receiver 1 type of numbers in college. Receiver 1 type numbers in college. So he was being used all over the field. Just like we used Devon A-Chain, we could line this guy up in the same way. This is only if Devon A-Chain does get traded, then I would do this. But if he doesn't get traded, you know, we just got to keep Devon A-Chain. No point of having 2 Devon A-Chains on the team. No point.
And another 4 scores through the year. So this guy's got 9 touchdowns overall, but his all-purpose production was amazing. Top 6 in all of college football with nearly 155 yards a game. Like I said, at 5'8", 175, pretty impressive. I think he's only going to get bigger. He's only going to get stronger. Another offseason with Power 4 resources. He's going to be in a really good spot to continue to succeed. The guy's just a great football player. I mean, he's just awesome. And he can beat you with routes out of the backfield. He can be a slot receiver. He's obviously great if you just hand it to him and let him do work between the tackles. This guy is just a really well-rounded football player that I don't think gets nearly enough attention, doesn't get nearly enough credit. But pound for pound, he's one of the best football players in the entire country. So Desmond Reed makes our top 5.
Top 5 running back, and he might fall all the way to like the 5th or 6th round, just based off the size alone, but very high upside to even take a chance on him, even at this size.
Coach Deuce is a very tough guy. I would say one story that, wasn't really a story, but it was during spring, like last year, when I first came. It was very cold, me, I'm a Miami guy, so I'm not really used to that cold. But we had a scrimmage. At the stadium. Real cold, very windy. A couple of the players wore sweatpants during the scrimmage. Coach Deuce was hot. He was mad. He said he was like, for the rest of the spring practice, we're not practicing indoor. He don't care what the weather looks like. We're practicing outdoor, and we did too. The next practice, it was raining and real cold. We still practiced outside. So that was one story I'd probably say that because
that's discipline right there. That is discipline.
Desmond, people obsess over the 40 time. What's more important to you, the first 10 yards or the long speed?
Really both of them. But the first 10, that's what really matters. So if you don't have that first 10 down, the last one's gonna be real tough. So you definitely gotta have the first 10 for sure.
What type of run scheme maximizes your game? Do you like 22 personnel, 11 personnel? What do you like?
We ran a lot of 11 personnel. A tight end, one running back, and that was the majority of what we ran. My whole college career. So I say that. But I'm any personnel, I'm good with.
And shout out to Desmond. Let me see. I'm gonna check out his page. 5'6", 174 pounds, 28-inch arm, man. So the size is not something to be happy with, but let me see what Devon A-Chain size is. Devon A-Chain NFL Combine. Devon A-Chain, 5'8.5", 188 pounds, 29-inch arms. They say he 5'6", 174 pounds, 28-inch arms. So Devon A-Chain got him by a few inches, but at the same time, they're pretty much the same size. So like I'm saying, y'all, if Devon A-Chain get traded, we got to target Desmond Reed from the crib to Miami Gardens. So this definitely wouldn't hurt the team, and you get a cheaper Dollar Tree version of Devon A-Chain with Desmond Reed. Dollar Tree version. Let me see. Share this page. So with not the receiver, running backs. Let me see. So with the running backs, guys that could replace Devon A-Chain if he ends up getting traded too. I like Damon Claiborne, That'll be a good guy to replace Devon A-Chain. Jadarian Price, but that might be a little bit too high for drafting a guy. I like Jonah Coleman. I definitely do like Jonah Coleman. I like his mindset. Will be a good fit. Not as fast as Devon A-Chain, but Jonah Coleman, big time guy to watch. It's not that deep in regards to running back in this class, but if you find the right scheme fit, it shouldn't even matter. Finding the right scheme fit, but I'm just going based off the guys that are a little bit lower on the board, instead of higher, because I'm pretty sure we're not gonna get a running back high enough so these guys could last to us. But the main guys that pop out is Damon Claiborne, Jonah Coleman, Desmond Reed to me. Singleton, he stands out to me as well. Le'Veon Moss, he stands out to me as well. So those 5 guys are big time names that I have my eye on in regards to guys that the Dolphins should target in the NFL draft. What else I got for y'all? The Dolphins picks. We have the first, the 11th pick, the 30th pick, the second round. We have 1 pick. Actually, I thought we didn't have no second round pick. 43. You have 4 thirds, 1 fourth, 1 fifth, and 2 sevenths. 7 picks in the top 100. So we're trying to build this thing from the ground up, literally. The Dolphins wide receiver room, which once featured Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, now looks like this: Tutu Atwell, Jalen Tolbert, Terrace Marshall, Malik Washington, Taj Washington, Theo Weiss Jr., and AJ Henning. If this is not a rebuild, then I don't know what is. I do not know what is. Look what Omar Kelly said on the 1st of March. Jalen Waddle is not on the trade block. Dolphins aren't moving him unless someone offers a top 16 pick, which isn't happening. So stop talking about that one. Well, we're talking about it today, Omar. We're talking about it today. But at the same time, whatever we gave up for Waddle, not gave up, but whatever we got in return for Waddle, that 30th pick is equivalent to the 16th pick if you include that 3rd and that 4th pick based off the value. That's how I view it. So we pretty much did get that top 16 pick if you add all those pick up together into 1 pick. And now Waddle's gone. The Dolphins will have over $165 million in dead cap on their 2026 salary cap this upcoming season. More than 165 of a $301.2 million cap will be devoted to players no longer on the team. That includes Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, Ramsey, Minka, and several others. So it seemed like Chris Greer completely scarred this organization when he was signing all these players to these contracts that probably didn't deserve it, or we were never going to sign them to those contracts. So we still dealing with things from way back just based off of what Chris Greer did to the Miami Dolphins. We still have to suffer from these things. Still. But if we were going to get dead cap from Jalen Waddle, why would we trade him? We were already at like 199, but now we have 165 million in dead money. So this year is just basically hoping that Malik Willis could thrive under this current team that we have right now. if he shows that he could do well with this type of roster, if he could do well with this roster right here, Malik Willis, you're a Dolphin for good. You're a Dolphin for good. Somebody said this team is going 0-17. 0-17. We got Devon A. Chain, Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon, Malik Washington, Theo Weiss, Jalen Tolbert, Taj Washington, Tutu Atwell, Terrace Marshall, Greg Dulcich, Ben Sims. I'm pretty sure we're going to get another tight end in the draft. Pretty sure about that. A good one. Patrick Paul, I trust him. Jamari Slayer, I trust him. Aaron Brewer, I trust him. Only people I don't trust is Jonah and Austin Jackson. And, I'm a little bit less worried with Jonah because he was a rookie last year. So hopefully he could continue to improve. And I'm pretty sure Teron Armstead is still working with some of our old linemen, even though he retired. So Jonah, he should be in good hands in regards to improving his craft with Teron Armstead. Austin Jackson hasn't lived up to that first round pick we used on him. Hasn't lived up to it, but we signed Charlie Heck just in case if he start acting up. We signed Charlie Heck, so hopefully Charlie knows what the heck he's doing when he goes out there. That's what we're hoping for. I don't think this is an 0-17 team at the current moment. I think it's an 8-9 win team. Unless you make a big trade for a receiver or a DB, who knows? We're going to see what happens. We're going to see. You got Chop Robinson. You have Cameron Good as the only edge guys currently. Robert Bill, a big guy at edge that we added. Could probably play the interior as well, but we got a lot of guys in the interior. Zach Sealer, Jordan Phillips, Zeke Biggers, Kenneth Grant. Matthew Butler. That D tackle room, we solid. We got Jordan Brooks at linebacker, Terrell Dodson, and we got Willie Gay Jr. backing those guys up. And we got Josh Uche. And we got David Ojabo, guys who could come off the edge. High ceiling guys, but haven't lived up to what we thought they could have been. Juju Brent, we can't really rely on him to stay healthy. The other cornerback that would probably be starting is Lonnie Johnson, but I don't know if we should have faith in him holding his side down. We would just need to run a defense as to where everybody could play alongside with each other, so not a lot of mistakes happen. There's a cornerback on here that I would trust one-on-one strictly with any team's receiver, but he just gets hurt too much, which is Juju. A taller, longer receiver, not that slow either, 4.5, but for a cornerback his size, that's pretty good speed to keep up with fast receivers. And you have long arms to keep up with the bigger receivers. And you could also stack up whatever receiver you're going up against with your long arms and, hold them back. So Juju Brents, he has a lot of potential at cornerback, but we got to hope that he can stay healthy to help us out in that room because we need a lot of help. We need a lot of help. We got Marco Wilson, from the crib. Shout out to him. We definitely but I was expecting for him to sign. I think his brother signed with us one time too, his older brother, Quincy, a former Florida Gator too. Shout out to those guys. But yeah, this team currently looks like an 8-9 win team, until they start improving more and more with the draft or if they make other big splash signings as well. All right, and somebody just mentioned what I said in regards to Malik Willis, basically saying that they have that much faith in Malik Willis to do this without receiver, or they have that much faith in Malik Willis to get accustomed to a new receiver who probably got drafted, and they think that Malik Willis is a good enough QB to make that receiver better, get on the same page in regards to timing and throwing, so on and so forth. We're gonna see how it's gonna work with this team because it seems like we got a whole new different team to work around each other. So that's the main thing right there. Main thing. Oh wow, the Eagles are signing Hollywood Brown to a 1-year deal. Just when I said the Dolphins could be a good signing because we traded away Jalen Waddle, the Eagles got him. Go to a team where you're gonna get targets, man. I feel like he's chasing a ring right now. He's chasing a ring right now. You think Jalen Hurts gonna get you targets? I don't think so. I don't think so. They said Malik Willis next season, him throwing to himself. That's what they said. Cap, bro, would you give up threes, the 3rd round pick for a BTJ? I would, yeah. Brian Thomas Jr., yeah, that would be a great pickup right there. Great pickup. I know he's not worth a first. We're not giving up no first for our BTJ. Probably a 2nd or a 3rd. I'll give it up for Brian Thomas Jr., especially with Waddle being away. Let's bring him in. He'll be eligible for an extension, I think, after this year, possibly, but we'll see. Give me BTJ. Give me Jalen Tolbert. That's 2 6'2 plus receivers on the outside. You got Malik Washington in the slot, or you got Tutu Atwell in the slot to help you out with the speed. You can even line those guys up on the outside and put one of the bigger guys in the slot. You could put BTJ in the slot. Jalen Tolbert, they kind of use them in the slot as well with the Cowboys. But I don't know if he's a guy that I would let play in the slot a lot. He'll get a lot less reps in the slot if I'm running everything compared to him on the outside. That's my opinion. Right. Draft Tate or Sadiq. Okay, yeah, Sadiq is another guy that we could pick up. He could probably play receiver as well with those intangibles, that 40, that size. He'll fit in that mold of a bigger receiver. So if you get Sadiq early in the draft, just make sure you get that receiver that could complement Sadiq's talent. So if Sadiq's a fast, bigger tight end, you would really want a do-it-all receiver that we could pick up in the 3rd or 4th round. Like I told you, that guy from Georgia State, Ted Hurst, I think that's his name, Ted Hurst. That's a guy I would really like on the Dolphins. Dolphins have to have something up their sleeve. You have to have a 1 in your wide receiver room. I don't care how much rebuilding you're doing. Out of anybody, Chad Ochocinco should know what the Dolphins got going on. So I still don't think we're going receiver with number 11. I still don't think so. It's probably the 30th or the 2nd round pick. Only 3 players remain from the 2023 Miami Dolphins roster: Zach Sealer, Devon Achane, Austin Jackson. We got rid of Chris Greer. We got rid of Mike McDaniel. We went through a full rebuild already with this Jalen Waddle trade. Already. Zach Sealer, we can't get rid of. Devon A-Chain, we can't get rid of. I wouldn't do that. But if it happens, I wouldn't be surprised based off Waddle being sent away. Would not be surprised. I can't believe they signed Hollywood, man.
I've been a master my whole entire life since I've been a baby. This is the worst moment in the history of my life. This is ridiculous. This is crazy, man. We went to the NBA Finals. Why are we trading the best player, the franchise player? How are we trading the franchise player? We went to the NBA Finals. He's supposed to have a statue. Hell yeah. He's supposed to have a statue. Dirk got a statue right there. It's supposed to be Luka right there. Why we don't got a statue for Luka? This new management is putting profit over fans.
Yeah, I felt that one. I definitely felt that one, man.
Profit over fans. Feel me? They're not worried about the fans. They don't care that we've invested 7 years of it believing in Luka, but believing in building a team around Luka. They don't care about that. They just want to make the gambling money, make a couple $100 million, and leave us stuck out here. Now we're back to square one. We're back to square zero. You feel me? It's ridiculous. Luka filled that stadium. Who gonna fill it now? Who gonna fill it? I've been a master my whole entire life.
Yeah, that boy went global with this one. Definitely went global. And I still can't believe it, bro. Still can't believe it. Now, let me show y'all Ted Hurst, the receiver that I like out of this draft class. And a tough guy. Good catching ability. Pretty good hand-eye coordination. You could do little trick plays with him. And I feel like with a few years in the NFL, it would definitely help out his game in regards to being a very good wide receiver. Ain't really go to a big school. He went to Georgia State, but look, one hand over him. Waddle who? Waddle who? If you get to Hurst, that's what I'm going to say. Waddle who? Yeah, I feel like he's going to translate to the NFL. That's a beautiful release. He ran a 4.4 at 6'4", 206 pounds. So he has that size that we want and a pretty good speed to go along with that size. And it doesn't look like he's running at a slow rate. It seems like he's pretty fast. See, good catch right there. Good catch. See, good job finding the space. Easy to the house. Touchdown. Boom. See, he got some power to him as well, not just his speed. Let me know how y'all feel about Ted Hurst, man. One of my draft gems, the guys that I'm keeping a close eye out for. I'm gonna be mad about any team that get him, but I would not be mad if the Dolphins do end up picking up this guy. I do see the talent with him. Even with that, he didn't get a lot of separation, but you just trust the fact that if you throw it in his vicinity, he's gonna be able to come down with it. Even if it's one hand, two hands, he's gonna be able to get that ball. And he's doing it against SEC competition. The last clip we saw against Vanderbilt, this clip against Arkansas. He's showing you that he should have been playing on that FBS level. That's what he's showing. But yeah, this is just one guy with target at receiver.
At all the FBS and 20-plus yard target receptions with 27 over the last two seasons. He also jumped up to about 18 forced missed tackles this year, which has been a big improvement for him. Out of what a small sample I have seen, he also posts up in the low red zone to
he does.
Win 4-point plays, these touchdowns on top of it. So he's going to be the first person when I have some free time to go back and watch, because it's a smaller school, but this is like a big-bodied, big boy wide receiver.
I forget which team it was, but he played like a big boy school, and he had a pretty up and down day. But you saw the flashes, where it's okay, that looks like an NFL athlete. And of course, 97% on the broad jump at 6'4", 4.42 speed. You're going to write raw development, all those things in your notes, but a truly a special athlete.
I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, shout to Ted Hurst, man. Shout to Ted Hurst. Let me see if there's anything else with the Waddle deal. If not, I'm going to hop off right now. Yeah, nothing else really, y'all. I mean, hey, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this.
I think it's awesome. I think they both might be faster than me. and that's a good thing. Hey, I ain't no beef. We ain't going to start no beef early. I think it's awesome. I think they both might be faster than me.
Now you only got to worry about one, Devon Achane. Devon Achane and him in the backfield is too lethal of a combination to let go. We let go of the Waddle, Willis, and Achane, combination. We got rid of that. But, we got to at least keep that nucleus of Devon Achane and Malik Willis, and let's see how it plays out before we do anything with Devon Achane. Before we do anything, man. But hey, appreciate y'all for pulling up. I just wanted to hop on here, talk about that Waddle trade, and see what y'all reactions are. I'll be back more consistently sooner rather than later. Getting everything situated, and I can't wait to talk about the Dolphins. We're gonna be talking about the draft prospects that I do like, that we should keep an eye out for. The draft is coming up soon. Free agency. I might talk about the picks, not the picks, but the pickups that we got throughout free agency as well, because I haven't spoke about that. So, hey, appreciate y'all, love y'all. Waddle to the Broncos. It hurts me to say it, but hey, it happened. It happened. But appreciate y'all. Love y'all. It's DGE Dolphin Gang Entertainment. It's your boy DG. And I'm gone.